it's not often I will review a watch this cheap. The cheapest watch which I've been impressed by was the Cadison C1032, and I still think that's one of the ultimate value for money watches. Less than £50, sometimes crazily less than 40, very rarely, but it's generally around the £40 mark. This Benyar is £38. The spec isn't quite as impressive as the Cadison, but let's see what this is really like. And if you're into these ultra cheap, ultra value homage watches, this video is definitely worth your attention. So let's take a closer look. So here it is, the Benyar for £38, paying very strong homage to a very well-known watch by Rolex, which is called the Explorer. This is an homage watch. It's not a copy or a clone. It's just paying strong, respectful tribute. But now we've got that crap out of the way, let's take a closer look at this watch. 38 quid. This is the box it came in. Lizard grain, which is always my favourite of any kind of packaging. I took 2 links to fit this to my 7-inch wrist, and it comes with a pointless guarantee card because I ain't sending this all the way back to China. It cost too much time and effort. The user's manual. If you can't work out how to use a watch, you shouldn't be buying one. And it comes with a polishing cloth, which you would need because this has got a lot of polished surfaces on the case. So that's the packaging. Not bad for a £38 watch. So we're going to need assistance for the initial parts of this review, and that's going to be the stats and the specs. So the first thing we're going to do is check out the weight of this watch with those 2 links taken out. And if any of you have seen this channel before, you know who's coming. It's a very helpful and very friendly assistant, Gipas. And he always helps me with the weights. Now, a good sports watch of this sort of size, with a solid bracelet and solid case, all that jazz, it should be around 150. It's a good benchmark for comfortable weight. This weighs 145, so that's good. It's in the sweet spot. Now we're going to use Mr. Minch. Why do you think I call him Minch? Well, I'll give you one guess. This is the dimensions. The case size is a 41. Thickness is quite chunky, 14.4. Lug to lug, it's quite big, 49.9, call it 50. Good you have female end links, and female means it goes in like that. I won't go into any more detail because that's just it's just too disgusting to discuss. But anyway, yeah, see, it doesn't change the length of the watch because they contour in, so we changed it ever so slightly. Crown, that's 6.5, so nice good size there. And the lug width, annoyingly, is 21, which is very awkward for strap changes. It says 20.5, but it actually is 21. So dial size, considering it's a 41mm case size, let's see what that is. 33.5. So again, it's quite a big watch. The original Explorers were always 36mm, then Rolex in 2010 brought the 39mm model out. So being 41 is, to me, it's just too big. It just doesn't fit with the proportions of this watch. But that's for discussing later on. And there's one more assistant, a new assistant for the team, and that is Di, the Diamond Selector. Now she gets a bit carried away and starts beeping profusely if I fiddle with her knobs too much. So we're going to just turn this up to, I normally put it on like 1 or 2. So if you have it all the way up there, almost everything's sapphire and the volume's too loud. So I put it normally on 1 or 2, and I've got to wait for it to warm up. This makes really good viewing, watching a Diamond Selector warm up. Just talk amongst yourselves. Very fun, very exciting. There we go, lamp on is ready. So what you do, let's pull this out. So I get this. You're supposed to hold it dead straight. You're not supposed to do it at that angle. I know it makes good for you to see it, but ideally you need to hold it and put it on square on. And you see, just it's like no reading. So that didn't say it was sapphire. I'm just proving it isn't. As is the underneath. I say same reading of a knout. So let's turn this off. Thank you, Di. See you in the next one. There we are. Let's move back in. So what do you get for your money? This is supposed to be hard legs of sorts, but first thing you must know, straight out the box, this came with a scratch. I've got in touch with Benyar, so you can see there, it's a scratch. Came like that, literally out the box, out the packaging. So I messaged them and I sent them pictures. It's very detailed. My camera is decent enough quality, and they're very poor English. Well, I can't criticise, my Chinese is even worse. They said, send clear pictures, friend. So I sent them 3 really clear pictures, and then they just ignored me after that. So that's why, don't bother. If you get a watch which has got a problem, it's just not worth the hassle. And I was only asking for maybe a few more pounds back, but I don't know if they made any money making these watches anyway, so I just don't know how they do it. So that's the kind of thing you're going to be paying in towards when you buy a £38 watch, is you're not really going to necessarily get customer service of any sort. So the movement inside is it's actually an automatic, believe it or not, for £38. It's a Chinese movement. I don't know how good it is. I can't really be any more helpful because there's not a huge amount of details on these movements, but there's not any horror stories either. They work, it ticks, it's 21,600 beats approximately. It's going to have 40 to 50 hours power reserve. It's fine, but it's the only option with this watch. You can't get it with a quartz or anything like that. But for an auto, it's not bad, and it has manual winding, which feels okay. It does sound a bit antiquated. And then this one I have to take my glove off, and you'll see why I'm wearing gloves. Not just because this watch is polished, but I've got paint stains on my hands and I'm too lazy to bother scrubbing them. Sorry. Got to keep this channel honest, guys. Now, see, when I pull the crown all the way out, which is actually a bit awkward, we don't have hacking, which is when this stops. As you can see, I've used white paint. So that's the kind of specification when you get with the movement. It's just pretty average. It's basic, it's entry level. Now, before I get carried away and discuss any more, let's have a quick little look at this watch again outside. So you're back again, guys. I didn't mention earlier, this is all stainless steel and the bracelet is solid. It has hollow end links, pressed yet brushed clasp, no micro adjusts anywhere, no half links either. So you're basically just got to be a bit of luck getting this to fit you. It's either going to fit you or not. So let's show you this on my wrist. I have a 7-inch wrist, just for reference, which is totally average. So I took 2 links out, which is what you would expect if you had the same size wrist as me and wanted to size it. 2 links out. It actually fits me very comfortably. It's a perfect fit, and that's how it looks on my wrist. But look at that long lug length. That's the first thing I'm going to do, is discuss my overall thoughts on this watch and my likes and dislikes now, for this ends up one of my waffly videos, which is very easily done. So the first thing I just don't like about this watch is just, even though it fits me, it doesn't look right. It's a very straight watch, and it's very chunky, and it sits tall on the wrist. So let's get it back on again. It sits, let's get this camera out. It's got a big gap there. Don't normally have that kind of gap, and it just sits and looks a bit chunky on wrist. And I don't think this is meant to be a chunky looking watch. The Explorer that this is paying homage to, it's famous for just having that right amount of proportion and elegance with its design. They've not really done a good job with that. If they're going to do anything right with this watch, obviously the price is great, but then try and get a few other things great as well. First thing they've messed up on was obviously it came with scratch glass, and the polishing is not very smooth and it's not very good. I don't like the lug width. It's 21, which it should be 20. So you can do strap changes, because if this bracelet doesn't fit you, you need to change it out. But then 21 is an awkward size that you're not always going to get the strap you want. The bracelet's okay for the money, but you've got hollow links. I don't like the fact it's all brushed with no polishing anywhere, and the case itself is polished everywhere, absolutely everywhere. So there's not really something to help blend and marry the two together. It really looks like this bracelet is also from a different grade of steel. It's got a different, almost slightly greeny tinge to the shade. It's just a bit obviously cheap and a bit nasty. And I've said before, the polishing is not hugely smooth. If you look around that lug there, it's just a bit lumpy. It's just a bit unpleasant. The sides are okay. They're decent enough. But let's see what £38 watch, what the Lume's like. And this is where I haven't got a nickname for this because it's called a Violet, Ultraviolet. There you go, Violet. Let's charge this up. Lume always looks impressive when you've just charged it with our UV torch, because it's just had a full loading with the UV. And then, as you can see, I'll turn this off. That looks really good. But trust me, with the naked eye, it's fading already. It's not actually that good. It's annoying because on camera it looks pretty good. In reality, it's a bit grainy. You can see, look at the 12 o'clock index. It's just a bit patchy and a bit grainy. And this fades so quick. I'm not going to do a time lapse because it's pointless. But there is some Lume on there, and it's better than some Lume I've seen on watches which cost twice as much. So not bad. Let's get the light back on. Into the light and back onto the watch. Well, overall thoughts on this watch are, it is a waste of money. It is not worth getting for £38. For a little bit more, in a separate video, I'll present and discuss for £20 more how much more you can get for that £20, and it's dramatically more. This has got, taking aside the movement, the fit and finish has been average to poor because I've got a scratch on it. The polishing isn't great. The bracelet's not very good. It doesn't fit me very comfortably. The Lume is average. It's an awkward design. It's bulky. It's too big. It's not got any elegance to it. And I think if you're going to pay homage to a famous design, try and do it better. You've got the option. If you're going to be paying tribute to something, do it better. If you're going to pay homage to anything, the respectful thing to do is to do a great job without having to try and be too close a copy. I know this is £38, but I'm disappointed because I've mentioned in the intro, Callison do a better watch for the money. I know it's not the same genre of watch as this. This is more of a sports watch, whereas the Callison is more of a dress watch. But there are other homages to that infamous Rolex which are better. But I'm a little bit disappointed in this watch, and it has been a waste of money. But it's been fun to review it because it's good to see and be helpful and to pass this information on to you guys, what to expect for your money. And what to expect is something that's merely average. And in the next video, when you'll see this watch, you'll see a watch which is definitely better for a little bit more money. Hope that's been of help to you guys. If you've liked this video and you've seen a few of my videos and haven't subscribed yet, you know what? It'd be hugely appreciated if you join the gang. Hit that subscribe button, which is down there just below the video, and it'd be massively appreciated. You join the gang. So in the meantime, bye for now.